And welcome back to Trekyards Mission Briefing, your weekly Wednesday dose of something in the Star Trek verse. It could be a ship, shuttle, space station, torpedo, probe, maybe one day, or even never before made. Because Stuart, you've seen Star Trek, right?
Is that the one with the guy with the black helmet that...
Yeah. Well, you remember episode 9, Nemesis, the last of the sequels?
That's the one where the Luke guy dies. Yeah. That's the one. Okay.
Yeah. And they got a ship called the Scimitar. Pretty cool ship. Firewall cloaked, perfect cloak, high warp, kicks a lot of ass, right? Turns out, it didn't go from John Eve's brain straight from cool Scimitar, sketch, here's the finished model. That wasn't the thing. So today we're going to look at a thing I've never seen before. I don't think you've seen necessarily before. An earlier Scimitar concept. And here it is.
That's pretty impressive, actually. Yeah, I didn't know there were. Well, there always is other concept sketches for ships, but I had not seen this one, and it's actually very impressive. Because I got to admit the Scimitar is cool looking, but it looks a lot like a Jem'Hadar battleship.
I mean, it's very much a bat. It does work well in that way, but it's because it's a confusing ship because it's built. It was built on Remus by Remans, but they say built in secret, but it isn't built in secret by the Remans because they don't have the technology to build, design, transphasic cloak. So it would have to be built in some measure by Romulans, but then it's not Romulan design, but I'm assuming it's Romulan built, Romulan designed, but Reman slave built. Like, you know what I mean? It's a weird hybrid, but it looks quite radically, not different, but to a step to the left. Does this look more? It was like a more Romulan design. Would this fit better into that built in unison, two people to kill everyone sort of ship?
Yes. This carries over more of the bird-like aesthetic that they were used to with the Romulans a little bit. You got like a beak and some eyes and some feathers at the front for the head, and then the wing feathers. Whereas, the Remans, the Scimitar looks more like a bat, like you said, because they live in the darkness, live in the mines. This looks more Romulan to me. This could be a cool Romulan dreadnought.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I'm noticing is that the Enterprise E is also a little different design-wise here, which I actually really like, but we're not talking about that today.
I think you just drew it rough because it's a sketch.
Yeah.
It's a scale, isn't it? It's just to give a sense of, ooh, this is a big ship, and clearly still a humongous ship. I mean, the Scimitar actually is the original, the one we see, is actually rather sleek. I will use that word. It is very thin in parts, very crisp in parts. The primary module is a bit squarish. It doesn't quite connect. This one is much more integrated, but this one feels a lot more bulky. I mean, this wouldn't work as these big swooping turns. It wouldn't look right. It'd be too hulking. It looks more like a tank in space. And for those out there that know, it looks like a Wraith from Halo. Very much so, actually. What do you think to all that?
I would disagree with you. I think it could be quite maneuverable. I'd like to see it in motion. I really would, because I think it also has articulating or moving parts on it. The back there looks like that's the emitter, Thaleron emitter. Looks like those things would spike up. But yeah, I would love to see this thing in motion. This thing looks really cool. It actually reminds me a lot of Hawk's fighter from Buck Rogers. Very, very bird-like, and but on a larger scale. I would really like to see this finalized, to be honest. See it in motion.
You know what I'm thinking? I feel like to continue the bird motif and to give it a sleekness, that you're right, it has got a head, it's got a beak, but I feel like it would need to have, as soon as you go past that, the hull actually goes back up into the ship and becomes very thin at the back. So because this looks very bulky, but if you were to have it in motion, it would then become very thin, and so when you do sweeping, it would feel like an animal. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I think this would be beautiful in motion. I don't think it's bulky at all. I see what you're saying, but my aesthetic eye says that this would be really good in that kind of situation. I could see this absolutely taking the place of the Scimitar in that battle scene.
So I was picturing the back as being much more solid, and then you've got this really big, bulky, well, body, which looks a lot more like the massive Kazon ship, just this big hulking shape. And this is just that shape but with wings. But yeah, if it's thin, if it's cut into, that could work. But it's interesting. I wonder. Oh, sorry.
Because on the bottom, we're not sure if it scoops up like this.
He wasn't sure either because he didn't do any more sketches of this.
Exactly.
As this.
And if it is kind of bulky and goes down, and there's a big mass in the center, I can see what you're saying. But if it's more of a sleek, kind of animalistic look, I think it would go up more and cut in.
Well, so. And actually, if you look at the front, you've got the beak, you've got the first cutting blades, and there's actually a line of negative space where the wings are. The wings imply they actually might be able to go up and down.
I think so, yeah.
Because that's very Klingon-y, but to be fair, would this be not necessarily a Klingon ship, but this would be a fun, like, a Klingon alliance ship where now it has the articulation. That's a good idea. But I can imagine as soon as you make the wings go down a little bit, it'd be more aggressive, like the Scimitar, actually. Maybe flat's passive,
or even up.
Yeah,
I think would really improve the look of it. Yeah.
I mean, I get the impression those three outer blades move.
Yep, that's why I first said it looks like there's a lot of articulating parts on it.
Yeah.
And it looks like a massive weapons module at the top there.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm wondering, like, where's this design come from? You know, it doesn't necessarily connect to anything. It's a very sort of, I guess, bird in flight, but a fat bird. I wonder what was the direction he was thinking, and where would this go further? Because it isn't what you would think of. Because, like, I mean, look at it. Obviously, not to design this first or after, but the Nerix and the Valdor. I mean, that direction was mega thin, mega sleek, mega pointy. You know, the Roman aesthetic, but honed down to a T. Then compare it to this, and it's like, this is not at all that. So I'm interested, you know what I mean? The very different direction, but same built time, not necessarily the same navy, but similar technology levels. Like, what do you think he was thinking when he designed this? Because it isn't in that same path necessarily.
Yeah, it's hard to say because it doesn't really tie in visually with much that we've seen. It does. It's sort of reminiscent of a lot of FASA Romulan designs, which were very bird-like. So I don't know if that was an inspiration for him, but I could see that. And those were like movie era ships. So progression from those to this, I can definitely see. But as for anything on-screen canon, there's not a lot to tie it in. Some of the plating on those wings looks very reminiscent of what we see on the top of the Dare decks. So there's that a little bit, but I'd really like to pick his brain about this, or even the new John Hughes book if there's some mention of this.
Yeah, it's downstairs, but I haven't opened it yet.
I haven't got it yet, so.
And also no visible weapons, which I'm quite intrigued. Well, I can imagine they're all underslung.
Well, I mean, really, are there any visible ones on the Scimitar either?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
but yet it was a Predator. It had how many torpedo banks?
Like 100 something altogether. But there is more to this, Stu. If you go to the next picture, you can see this is obviously with notes. He took the original shape and then altered it, I guess, based on new directive of underslung. And what do you think?
This is far less impressive to me. This seems more like a transport or whatever. It doesn't. This feels more bulky, like you were saying. I can't see this, sweeping and ducking and diving with the Enterprise. This seems more like a transport than a tactical ship.
I see this as a very literal combination of the Dominion battleship, the top, and then a Klingon bird of prey, the wings. It's even got those push-out pods that battleship has. But I love the guns. The side guns. I like that design a lot. So it's gained a certain aggressive stance, but now it's a chubby aggressive stance. It's lost that swoopy, but I could see this is more of a tank ship. because especially the scale is what we think it is. This is warps in. You're like, oh damn, the tank. So there's two big torpedo launchers at the front. You can see massive guns at the side. Just start shooting. You know, the Romulans were building not a dreadnought, but like everything is, all of the armor of the ship is, you know, is 35 meters of ablative armor. You're not getting through that, guys. Or like an anti-Borg ship. I can see this being an anti-Borg ship, you know, because it can take the punishment that Borg ship gives. And it's definitely more Klingon-y. With the
that being
wings.
said, the first thing I thought when I saw this was Jem'Hadar.
Yeah, battleship. Yeah.
Because it almost has like one of the vibe of the bug ship with those wings a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Not
I can see
designed
this
by
being
John. He only did the battleship.
yeah. But I can see this being an addition to the Dominion fleet for sure. And in which case, like the battleship, it's not really agile per se. It just sits there and just pummels you. And that works fine for this design. So,
although you could say that because again it's such a weird hybrid of things, you can almost say that what if the Romulans, they did capture some Dominion ships at some point we never saw, and they ripped through their entire quadrant and they were winning the war at every step for different reasons. But I mean, the battleship was a massive problem. You know, we never took one out at any point. So quite a big problem. It's a massive ship. But what if they did take influence from the Dominion to help build this, plus the influences from the, you know, where the Klingon ships were going with the big guns and the Negvar, and then the whatever Romulan they can put in there, and then obviously Reman. You know, I mean, maybe a Romulan designer needs to have consistency, but Reman is like, right, we're building a new ship. Let's use the biggest, baddest people of this decade to influence.
Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that. Like, it does seem like a marrying of tech. There is definitely some Dominion influence. Yeah, some Dominion influences there. This one also seems, at first glance, more aggressive. Like you said, it's got the guns. It's got, looks like visible torpedo launchers or something at the front, at the very front there. The other one, like you said, everything seemed hidden. You couldn't really see any weapons mounts, which doesn't necessarily immediately imply scary. This one, yeah, the tanks arrived on the battlefield. Let's just stay out of the way of its guns. So a very different vibe from this one for sure.
Yeah, so it's actually two quite different shapes, both interesting, and I love these. I mean, if you go back to the first one again, how fleshed out that feels, how interesting. What a crazy talented mofo that John Eaves is.
The guy's amazing. Like I love his doodle of the Enterprise,
which you know looks like a more armored, stubbier version that you could see being a war retrofit with. Oh, can you imagine those side cutouts be like doors open and fighters come out?
Damn.
So there you go, guys. You saw the Scimitar Nemesis, and now you've seen a potential Scimitar from potential Nemesis, thanks to the one and only John Eaves. And it's both are cool for different reasons, both are not cool for different reasons, and I guess I can see why they went for the final version, because it looks certainly faster, looks certainly more maneuverable, and it clearly is in the film. It's got that. Neither of these feel aggressive in the same way, and and again, I think Bat was probably a good idea. Living in the dark, that does work. In the way it's done. So, yay, John from years ago. Cool.
I love his designs. I can't get over how he can do it. But maybe we'll see something similar to this on screen at some point. Because I would definitely love to. So, anyway, guys, I think that's it for this episode. Put your comments down below. What do you think of these designs? And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification icon, do all that cool stuff. Share the video around. And there's lots of cool stuff in the description. Go check it out. Like our Eaglemoss affiliate, the code Trekyards, you can go into buying stuff at the eaglemoss.com store. You put in whatever you want to buy, and then at the end, code Trekyards. You'll save money, good amount of money, or whatever you buy. I think over 60 or £50 isn't it now? Over $50, sorry, not pounds. Yeah, you save 15% off orders of $50 or more. Yeah. So why wouldn't you use that? And lots of people have just saved money by buying cool things, and they've got a very nice. After 4 or 5 years, I've had a very nice a set of stuff. So
go buy, and then we get known for that. But also, Trekyards.com, click that donate button, give a little bit. I mean, these what we do here takes funds, takes time, takes life, takes money. So if you can support us, then you'll get more of us doing this. And with the 3 new shows coming out, plus Orville, it's good to have us around.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
I am Commander Huggins.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.